Okay, get ready because today we're going to dive deep into something that feels like it's straight out of science fiction, but is becoming more and more real every day.
Yeah.
Human-animal hybrids,
Right.
also known as chimeras.
Yeah. Which
It's a fascinating topic.
we are talking about blending human and animal DNA,
Yeah.
leading to organisms with traits from both species.
Yeah, and this research...
This research is moving beyond the theoretical.
It's not just theory anymore.
Scientists are already creating these beings in labs.
It's mind-blowing,
Yeah.
really. And it's not just about scientific curiosity.
Right.
This raises so many questions about what it means to be human.
Absolutely.
The ethics of pushing scientific boundaries, and
Yeah.
even the future of our species.
You're hitting on the core of it.
Yeah.
This research forces us to confront the line between humans and other animals. How do we define human when science can create beings that share our traits?
Okay, so let's unpack the science behind chimeras. Where do we even begin?
Sure. There are two primary ways
Yeah.
scientists create chimeras. One involves introducing human cells into animal embryos. The other involves introducing animal cells into human embryos.
So it's like swapping cellular building blocks,
Yeah,
mixing and matching the very essence of life.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Right now, most research uses chimeras to study diseases,
Okay.
especially those that are difficult to replicate in either humans or animals alone.
Could you give me an example?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's say researchers are studying a disease
Okay.
that affects both humans and mice, but manifests differently in each species.
Okay.
A chimera, perhaps a mouse with specific human cells or tissues,
Okay.
could bridge that gap.
Yeah.
It provides a more accurate model for
Yeah.
studying the disease and developing potential treatments.
So it's like having a living, breathing model that more closely mirrors the complexities of human disease.
Exactly. And that brings us to another promising area of research,
Okay.
organ transplantation.
Okay.
Imagine a future where we can grow human organs in animals for transplantation.
You're talking about solving the organ shortage crisis. That's potentially life-saving
Yeah.
for millions of people.
Think about it. A pig with a human-compatible heart
Wow.
could eliminate the wait list for heart transplants entirely.
Yeah.
The implications for global healthcare are enormous.
Huge. But that brings us to a big question, doesn't it?
Yeah,
At what point does a chimera,
right.
particularly one with human cells or even organs, deserve the same moral consideration as a human being?
That's one of the most complex
Yeah.
ethical challenges
Yeah.
we face with this technology.
Yeah.
The lines start to blur.
It's like stepping into uncharted territory,
Yeah,
both scientifically and ethically.
precisely. For instance, what if scientists create chimeras with human brain cells?
Whoa.
Could those chimeras develop human-like consciousness,
Yeah.
emotions, or even self-awareness?
Those questions sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but they're becoming increasingly relevant.
It's true. And if a chimera exhibits those human-like traits, what rights and protections should we grant them?
Right.
Do we treat them like animals?
Mm-hmm.
Or do they deserve the same rights as humans?
Right.
These are questions society needs to grapple with
Yeah.
before the science advances too far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot to consider.
it is.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface here,
We have.
and there's so much more to unpack.
Absolutely.
But we're going to take a quick break,
Okay.
and we'll be right back to delve even deeper into this fascinating and complex world.
Sounds good. And we've only just scratched the surface. The potential for unintended consequences is
Right.
another significant concern with chimera research.
Yeah.
With any powerful new technology,
Yeah.
we have to acknowledge that we don't fully understand the long-term ramifications.
It's that classic Pandora's box scenario, isn't it? Once you open it, you can't always put everything back in.
Right.
What kind of unforeseen issues are we talking about here?
Well, one concern is the potential for chimeras to escape from research facilities and disrupt ecosystems in unpredictable ways.
Okay.
Let's say we create a chimera with enhanced strength or disease resistance.
Yeah.
If that chimera were to breed with wild animals,
Right.
it could have a cascading effect on the environment.
It's like introducing an invasive species,
Yeah,
but with a much more complex set of genetic variables at play.
exactly. And the potential consequences go beyond the environment.
Right.
What if a chimera carrying human cells
Yeah.
were to transmit a novel virus to humans?
Oh, wow.
We're talking about the possibility of pandemics that we
Whoa.
can't even anticipate.
That's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
A reminder that this technology, while promising, also carries significant risks.
Absolutely. And beyond the ecological and epidemiological risks,
Okay.
we have to consider the societal implications.
Yeah.
How would the existence of chimeras change our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world?
It's a question that goes to the core of our identity.
Mm-hmm.
If we can create beings that blur the lines between humans and animals,
Right.
what does that say about our own humanity?
Precisely. And this brings us to another fascinating dimension of this topic,
Huh.
cultural and religious perspectives.
Okay.
The concept of human-animal hybrids has been a recurring motif in mythology and folklore
Right.
across cultures and throughout history.
Yeah, like centaurs and sphinxes.
Exactly. Think about centaurs, sphinxes, werewolves.
Right.
These figures embody the fusion of human and animal traits.
And they often evoke a mixture of wonder, fear,
Right.
and even reverence.
Yeah.
It's like we've always been fascinated by the idea of blurring the boundaries between humans and the animal world.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
And those same complex emotions are likely to surface as real-life chimeras
Right.
become a part of our world.
It's almost as if we're taking those mythical creatures out of the realm of imagination
Yeah.
and bringing them into reality.
In a sense, yes.
Yes.
And that raises some really interesting questions.
Yeah.
Will society accept chimeras? Will they be viewed as monstrous?
Right.
As a violation of the natural order?
Yeah.
Or will they be embraced as a sign of scientific progress?
It's like a social experiment on a grand scale with profound implications for how we view ourselves and the world around us.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't overlook the religious dimension.
Right.
Many religions teach that humans are unique creations distinct from animals.
Absolutely. The creation of chimeras could be seen as challenging those core beliefs.
Right.
Perhaps even as a form of transgression against the divine order.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may view it as humans overstepping their boundaries,
Right.
interfering with the natural order of creation.
So we're navigating not just scientific and ethical complexities, but also deep-seated cultural and religious beliefs.
Yeah.
It's a multi-layered challenge.
It is. And that's why it's so crucial to have open and honest discussions about these issues,
Yeah.
to bring them into the light and encourage thoughtful debate. We need to approach this technology with a balance of scientific ambition and a deep sense of ethical responsibility.
Okay, so we've covered the potential benefits, the ethical dilemmas, the societal implications, and the cultural and religious perspectives. But what about the practical side of things?
Yeah.
How are we actually regulating this research to ensure it's conducted ethically and responsibly?
That's a key question. The regulatory landscape for chimera research is still evolving,
Okay.
and it varies considerably from country to country.
So it's a bit of a global patchwork
Yeah.
of rules and regulations,
Yeah.
which could create some challenges.
Yes, exactly. This lack of uniformity could lead to a situation
Yeah.
where research that's prohibited in one country might be perfectly legal in another.
That raises the possibility of what some might call ethical tourism.
Right.
Researchers seeking out countries with less stringent regulations to conduct their work.
It's a valid concern, and it underscores the need for international cooperation and consensus on ethical guidelines for this type of research. We need to establish a global framework
Right.
to ensure that chimera research is conducted responsibly and ethically, regardless of where it takes place.
So we're essentially trying to create a global set of rules for navigating this uncharted territory. What are some of the specific regulations that are already in place?
One common regulation is the prohibition of creating chimeras with human brain cells.
Okay.
The concern, of course, is the potential for creating beings with human-like consciousness or intelligence.
Right.
Many countries have drawn a line in the sand,
Yeah.
saying we will not go this far.
But where do we draw that line?
Right.
And who gets to decide?
Yeah.
Those are questions that scientists, ethicists, and policymakers are wrestling with right now.
They are complex questions with no easy answers.
Right.
We're dealing with profound ethical dilemmas that will require careful consideration and open dialogue to navigate effectively. The future of this technology, and perhaps even the future of humanity, depends on the choices we make today.
It feels like we're standing at a crossroads, facing a future filled with both incredible possibility
Yeah.
and profound uncertainties. The choices we make today regarding chimera research will have far-reaching consequences.
That's a powerful way to put it. We're not just talking about abstract scientific advancements.
Right.
We're talking about the potential to reshape the very fabric of life as we know it. And that's why it's so important for everyone to engage in this conversation, not just scientists and policymakers. This is a societal issue with implications for all of us.
So it's not just about setting regulations and guidelines.
Right.
It's about fostering a deeper understanding of what's at stake and encouraging thoughtful dialogue
Absolutely.
about the ethical boundaries we're willing to cross.
We need to ask ourselves some fundamental questions. What does it mean to be human?
Right.
What responsibilities do we have to other forms of life? And what kind of future do we want to create for ourselves and for generations to come?
These are big questions, and there are no easy answers. But it's a conversation we can't afford to ignore.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that this isn't a black and white issue.
Right.
There are valid arguments on both sides.
Yeah.
Some people see chimera research as a violation of the natural order, a dangerous tampering with the building blocks of life. They worry about the potential for unintended consequences, the ethical dilemmas and the blurring of boundaries between humans and other species.
And on the other hand, there are those who see chimera research as a potential solution to some of humanity's most pressing problems.
Absolutely.
Like organ shortages and debilitating diseases.
Yeah.
They argue that the potential benefits outweigh the risks, and that we have a moral obligation to explore every avenue that could alleviate human suffering.
You've captured the essence of the debate. It's a complex issue with strong arguments on both sides.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's up to society as a whole,
Right.
through open and informed discussions, to decide how to navigate this ethically challenging terrain.
So where do we go from here? What are the next steps in this ongoing conversation?
I believe it starts with education and awareness.
Okay.
The more people understand about the science, the ethics, and the potential implications of chimera research, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about its future. We need to encourage open and respectful dialogue between people with different perspectives, to listen to each other, consider different viewpoints, and try to find common ground.
It's about finding that balance, isn't it? The balance between scientific progress and ethical responsibility.
Precisely. We can't let fear or dogma stifle scientific innovation, but we also can't allow ourselves to blindly charge ahead without considering the potential consequences. A thoughtful and measured approach is essential with a constant awareness of the ethical implications of our actions.
Well, I think this deep dive has given our listeners a lot to think about. It's a topic that's both fascinating and a little bit unsettling. But ultimately, it's a conversation we need to have as a society. As we move forward, I encourage everyone to stay informed, engage in thoughtful discussions, and advocate for policies that reflect our shared values.
I couldn't agree more. The future of chimera research, and perhaps even the future of humanity itself, depends on the choices we make today.
Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of human-animal hybrids. It's a topic that's sure to keep us all thinking and talking for years to come.